Next, I'd like to call Robert Tangway, I believe. Gave us 10 minutes, and I will set the timer for 10 minutes. I'll bring it up to this if it gets to there so that you can just conclude your statements at that point. Thank you. Turned it off.
It always gets me. Thank you so much, everybody. My name is Robert Tangway. I've spoken before the special committee, and having a lot of problems with the family courts and also DCYF. I'm going to start out going wide, then I'm going to get specific, and then I'm going to get wide again, maybe make some recommendations. I appreciate you all really trying to solve this. It's not an easy situation. What I passed out to the committee, it's to show what's really going on. As I wrote a letter, which is a guide, but then on the back is fraud that's been spread at the governor's office. Defamation spread at the governor's office. I swear everything I'm saying is the best to my knowledge, so help me God. Because God does exist. God is nature. It's the foundation of our Constitution, which was created prior to the U.S. Constitution, 4 years prior. And afterwards, we got our Fourth Amendment protections. The Constitution protects us from the government, which the government is just people. And people always do what's in their best perceived interest. They're always going to do what they feel is right, justified, and then we have laws, we have constitutions. As speaking prior, someone, I think it was Rep. Gregg, was talking about the child's rights. And if you read the Constitution, if you've ever been despoiled of anything, you read the Constitution, it will make you weep because it was done to protect us. Article 2, natural rights. All men have certain natural, essential, and inherent rights, among which are the enjoying and defending of life, liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and in a word, seeking and obtaining happiness. Now, I want to bring back to property because the family unit, women and children used to be considered property in the Constitution. And you might say that that's a horrible thing, but they still don't have to register for selective service. Women should be able to vote. Women should be able to do everything men can do, based on your own abilities. But this property, the family unit, the courts are not looking at this appropriately. We have a family. When a person breaks up a family, that is abuse on a child. That hurts a child. And take it from someone who's never had a father, or the guy who was a father was killed in a truck accident. And I grew up very hurt. The reason why I'm here is because I've gone to everybody else. If you'll see on that piece of paper, I've been to the governor's office, the attorney general, the mayor of Manchester, DHHS, DCYF, the Manchester, Concord, and Wyndham Police, the family courts, lawyers, judges, Bar Association, New Hampshire Legal Aid, which, by the way, their website doesn't even work. They get federal and state grant money. Their website doesn't even work. I make websites for a living. I could fix it in days. It's misappropriation of money. I'm not angry at any of you. I'm just being passionate about what's going on, because these people are getting hundreds of millions of dollars, DCYF, the family courts, judges, lawyers, to pretend like they know exactly what is right or wrong. I've gone to the special committee for the family courts. The House Speaker asked for more time. Been to the New Hampshire Coalition for Domestic Violence. I believe that they're the ones who put this propaganda. It says in this letter that I was ordered to have a mental evaluation or I would have to have supervised visits, and I refused it. That's not true. I was never ordered mental evaluation. I was never ordered supervised visits. The lawyer didn't even, opposing counsel didn't even ask for that. So I'm being human trafficked, and so are my children. And I've reported it to the Manchester police. They hung up on 911. That's after the Attorney General told me in writing, if I feel my children are being abused, I'm sorry, not the Attorney General, Jimenez, so deputy, that if I feel like I'm being abused, call 911. So I eventually did after calling the Manchester police. So you guys are talking about bringing these chiefs of police here. They're all in on it. Now, not to say that the police do what is, most of the stuff that they do is very good, but there's an inherent bias, and that bias is to protect women and children. And women get all the protections under the law unless, and I've talked to a lot of families, the father, the man, is more politically connected. So what we're having is a system of judges, lawyers, administrators, department heads, all appointed by the governor, Supreme Court justice as well. And Governor Sununu is not a good governor. I've been reaching out to him for over a year in writing. He has a lawyer, Rudy, who won't give me this. I caught it on video and I know what it says. He won't give it. They're just playing games. They don't really want to help the children. So when we get to the family courts and we're looking at everything is decided by the courts, everything. Anyone in here can be accused of anything or say that someone's violating me. They can be, the police get to choose who to investigate, who to prosecute. The judges decide whatever they want. And in my specific case, they ordered and then reaffirmed the order physically and mathematically impossible findings of fact. Physically and mathematically impossible findings of fact. That's fraud. They know about it based on the evidence that they received. The lawyer knows about it. The lawyer has a duty to report this to the judge. The judge knows about it. Signed affidavits. They hide it because the first thing the police do when you go to them is you say, they say, do you have a lawyer? This is the way it needs to go. If a child is being abused, you go to the police. The police, unlike in Harmony Montgomery's case, make an arrest if there's probable cause. And that's what we're all forgetting. At the end of all this is the Manchester police and their inherent bias because they have a contract out, which I will get to you guys. I was trying to find that right now, but I can't find it. But it was a contract signed to only train prosecutors, judges, police, only to protect women, only. And then the grant was given to someone on the domestic violence task force, which effectually is a pay raise of a 25% pay raise for $55,000. I can say this because I have the contracts signed by Diane Martin on November 30th, 2022, which was the same day that a fictitious domestic violence petition was put against me. So some of the specifics, and I know that it's a lot, and I do appreciate what you said, Madam Chair, about there's only so much we can handle. We need a jury trial. In most cases, you can have settled family matters in the family courts if the judges aren't lying. The judges are lying because it's called an expedited child support. And I really appreciate, there's a contract for it with the AOC. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing. And I understand that it's a lot. I call DCYF 633:7 is human trafficking. Part 3 of it is abuse by abuse of the legal process. I would say fraud. I would say that ordering me to violate a protection order and then holding me in contempt for not violating that protection order after I gave the judges and courts over and over, here's 173B, here's what you have to do, which is the protection order. We need to start repealing laws. We need to start, which 173B is unconstitutional. It's at the Supreme Court right now. I'm arguing that. It's unconstitutional via Article 15. Article 14 is the protection of access to justice, no denial of justice, no cost. All our laws that you create and that we uphold are all based upon the Constitution. And it all makes sense. You can't kill anybody, you can't attack anybody, only in self-defense. So there's two things that this committee can do.
If you can just wrap up with it. It sounds like you are.
Thank you. There's two things this committee can do. It can record this testimony, which it's doing now, and that be a message, and work with the individual agencies, including the judiciary, which they are watching this. And if they don't correct their behavior, the legislator has a constitutional power and duty to remove these justices. And I think it's getting very close to the point where when judges are lying and writing fraud and then hiding and abusing the legal process, that's at this point. I'd hope that anybody has any questions. I know I was kind of a little all over the place, but I would appreciate any questions if you do have them.
Thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you.
Are there any questions? No, thank you. Thank you very much for your testimony.
Okay.
I hope that you saw that when we're going to be looking for this, we want to make sure that things are handled appropriately, moving between different groups, so that if anything's been dropped in the process, that we can solve those problems.
Okay.
So thank you.
So then I do want to make a very fair note. Okay. So this is a picture of criminal defamation at the governor's office. This group and the legislators have a duty and a power to impeach the governor, and then here's all the other things. So I will be giving you the specific names, such as Judge Previtt.
So if you want to give that to us in writing, I need to understand exactly what it is that you're asking, and
This
we're
is my
limited.
testimony.
Thank you.
And I have absolutely no problem saying these names because I know 100% that the record provides it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, we have Katrina Hinrich. You said 3 minutes. Is that 3 minutes solid, or? Okay, perfect. I'll let you know when it's there so that then you can wrap up. Thank you. Don't rush.
Good morning, everybody. I was going to start off with something part of my DCYF experience, but I wanted to touch real quick, and this might cause my 3-minute issue. Mr. Tangway brought up a point, and it has some merit, and I think it's something you guys should look into. So when judges are writing orders because of, or I should say family court judges, there is an opinion that they're writing. Now that's from our own Supreme Court. They wrote an opinion of what a marital master or referee can do. They can write an opinion. It is not an enforceable order. The state then put on a caveat that a official judge, in other words, an officer of the state, could sign off and basically rubber stamp it. The caveat is they are not to put too much time into reading it because they claim their lack of resources, and I totally believe it. Time is a resource. But once that gets signed or stamped, that order now becomes real. It's not real when it's written, but then it becomes very real. And at that point, if there's falseness in it, it becomes a libelous order, which is something that I have personally experienced. So that is my understanding of the way that works. With that said, I will move on.